Hello. Uh, Today we are talking about the Chinese Type 64A, or as some people call it, the Chinese Type 64A. Um, this is a rather interesting mask. Some of you, actually more of you than watch my videos, have seen Duke's video on the Type 64B. The same seller was so kind to send me a Type 64A, although I didn't really ask for it. Word of advice for you, I know that most of my viewers probably don't have kids, or if you do, that's cool. But if your kids do have a hobby, like collecting masks or collecting Funko Pops or something, and they talk to people, that's actually a good thing. You build business relationships and you learn how to interact with people, and it's kind of a self-rewarding thing. In this way, there's this Chinese seller who I consider myself fairly good friends with on a business level, and when you get to know someone good and you're a good customer, sometimes you get stuff for free, which is the case here. He's in transit between two locations and didn't want to take everything with him, so he mailed some of it to me. So I got this nice face piece, but only the face piece. The head harness is of my own manufacture from a pretty beat up M17 one. You can see the elastic's pretty screwed up, so that's not really part of this review. And there's no filter, but it's free, and again, great guy. You should make friends online. Don't be a dick. Anyway, on to the review itself. I could talk for hours about other random shit like that. I think everyone could, but that's not why you're here. This is, again, the Type 64A. It's a pretty cool mask. Nice fabric hose. There's no inlet valve, so you can kind of do like the GP4 snorting on it, or if you don't have a filter and inhale, it vibrates the mechanisms, and the exhale valve, for some reason, it all shakes, which is alright. It's kind of a neat mixture between the MM1 and the GP5, I guess. Really, it's more MM1 with a little bit of AT. I'm sure Duke covered that in his video, but some of the molding and then this really high part right here, which, by the way, this is very comfortable. This is an incredibly comfortable mask. Mechanism's very interesting. It's actually the same material that the Type 66 is made out of. Hopefully I can do a Type 66 review soon. There is a primary exhale right here in the division between these two parts, and then on the bottom there is another. It's just like the dust cover on the bottom of the GP5, the secondary exhale. The voice diaphragm is right here. This should probably twist off. On mine it's a little bit stiff, and I don't really want to break this housing, so I don't bother. Standard Soviet Chinese lenses, obviously they're round. I think they're a little bit smaller than the GP5. I haven't been able to check. And, yeah. Again, obviously 5-point head harness. The molding's a little bit rough, and you do get the tunnel vision like you would get with any of the Soviet optical masks or the MM1. But really, it works out okay. It's a very comfortable mask. The voice diaphragm is clear. There's low breathing resistance, although obviously that really comes down to the filter. And, yeah. Now, as you can probably see from here, the Tissot deflectors come up from the bottom. They come to the sides of the lenses, similar to, like, say, like the M2 optical. It's a really good, sturdy design. Let me pull it off the head and just turn it inside out for comparisons here. Hope you guys are enjoying. So I need to work on that strap system a bit. I threw it together yesterday. So let's turn this inside out. Show you the innards with the light. There we go. Alright, so obviously right here, I can actually touch it with my finger. This is the voice diaphragm. It's not really protected. And then it's a little bit hard to show you. Hopefully you can see it. Is right there's that primary exhale, again, just like the GP5. Then over on the sides are Tissot tubes. There are a couple markings inside. I don't really know what they mean. Obviously, being an Appalachian. Well, no, that's not fair. I'm sure that some of us can read Chinese, but me, in Appalachian. I have very little understanding of the Chinese language, sadly. Anyway, there's that bottom exhale. And, yeah, I don't know. Not a lot to say. I'm sure Duke covered the history in his, but the Chinese tend to date their masks by what year they were made, so I'd assume this is mid-60s. There's obviously two versions of it. One is this one, the A, the other is the B, where it has a more refined mechanism. The other interesting thing about these is that these face pieces, unmolested, are actually becoming more scarce. Obviously, if you've seen on eBay, a lot of companies are taking the hose off, which it just has this rubber band on it, and then some fabric tape. It's pretty cool. A lot of companies are taking these, and they're making them in the chin filters, which I don't really approve of, because, I mean, obviously it's an older mask and should be preserved, but also it's just an outdated design. I mean, this is really clunky, and you have all of this, and let me just grab another Chinese mask for comparison. Say with like the FMJ09, obviously, you know, this is a good 40 years later, so it's not really fair to compare. Actually 50 years, but I mean, this entire mechanism does the same thing and it doesn't stick out at all. So that's like my one real complaint with the 64A, is that it's really front heavy. Here, obviously, exhale, voice diaphragm, a little bit steer to your voice diaphragm too, little issue. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I find out that someone's been replacing even the fronts of these for some reason. I don't know. Apparently they have a lot of them in back stock, because like I said, they've been selling these things surplus for a while with different little molestations and changes to them. Anyway, that's really it. There's not a lot to say. It's just a very good, solid mask. I highly recommend watching Duke's video on his 64B. He probably covers both of them in better detail than mine. But the long and short of it is, it's a very comfortable mask. That really high forehead, it seems a little bit weird. It works really, really well. It's actually a very well thought out design. And I think he said that it actually makes it more compatible with helmets, because instead of the buckle sitting right here where it's going to get pressed down, it's kind of more up to the top, and this is kind of a void space on helmets usually, so you're not going to have interference there. Don't want to put words in his mouth, though, so I might be wrong on that. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's your problem. Cool.